Hey y'all, how's it going? So, I got another video for you guys here. This is gonna be an episode-based video. And it's quite a lot longer than the short build videos that I make normally. This is basically going to show the entire evolution of a starting character to the end of my Chakram Hexer build. So, in this build, I'm just kind of gonna show start to finish, speed runs and how I normally make my builds. Normally I just show the end game versions of it, but I have had people ask for guides at points, and I thought, you know what, let's start with the first episode. We'll see how people like it. If they don't like it because they're a little long, I'll just go back to doing the short build videos showing and kind of experimenting with the builds. So, as always, we gather everything that we can. We build our ice rags, that way we can buff our pickaxe. You can use the fishing rod if you want. I just like the pickaxe because it's more stagger. Normally when I fight the hyenas, I like to block their first attack, kicks, so you get half of their stagger down. I actually start messing up here just because I just bought a new laptop, and I completely forgot that I have my rebinds set completely different, and I have normally Q being my special attack, but in the default version of this game, I believe it's mouse scroll wheel 3, or mouse the input for the scroll wheel, which I dislike, is the nice way to put it. After I killed these hyenas, I did actually change my input, so you can see there, it's now E. But yeah, after you kill those hyenas, I got lucky. I got the 2 predator bones. You just loot the rest of the starting area, and then as soon as you can get to the Cierzo, that is when we're able to kind of finish our starting area loop. And once we're in Cierzo, we just do the same kind of loop thing that we normally do. We gather everything in the town. We sleep, we craft our Gabari tartines, we eventually will be crafting our beef jerky, and the rest couple of minutes will just kind of show my loops I like to do.
Rise and shine!
Yeah! To threat, you heard, Mother! Away with you, or
If I could, that doesn't. Have you forgot? This is your. Never. Once you remember, you only have.
I will say, I've done this starting loop that's being shown so many times that I feel like I almost could speedrun it to see the fastest I could get, as well as maybe the best RNG I could get. The best thing that you can get in the starting area is either the hat, chest piece, or boots that give you that minus stamina cost reduction. It's just a small boost. But it's starting for something. When you're here, you always want to make sure you're getting the backpack. You also want to accept the quest if you're heading to Berg, because that way you can get a free gem. I think it's a ruby. Here I always end up mugging Yazan just for the free 25 silver. It really doesn't affect the quest line either, unless you're doing like a noble playthrough or you're not an asshole. Here as well, while you're fishing, you're aiming for blue sand just because it sells for a lot, and if you really want to, you could make the armor. I actually got really lucky here with the merchant. I got the obsidian shard, or the obsidian stone, whichever it's called, and that did set me back a few silvers, so I actually had to go around a little bit more and sell a little bit more of the items I found that I didn't really want to sell. But I got the obsidian stone thing mainly for the obsidian chakram. That way I could actually have a decent starting chakram until I got the main one I'd be using for the build. So after grabbing our skill, you always want to head up here to make sure you're grabbing at least fitness from the Spellblade trainer, as it'll give you, that extra 25 health. If you can, you want to save up a total of 100 silver so you can get both skills, the blocking one, sturdy. But because I found the obsidian shard, I ended up having to just settle for the one, which is fine by me. At the end there, you see me picking up salt water. That way I can go down, decraft it into salt, and I can make some beef jerky. With that all set, I I store some of the items I won't be needing, just so I have a little bit of extra carry weight for some loot, and I start heading out into Chersonese. I always like to go through this back exit just because I could sell the pickaxe, and then I can kill the troglodytes here for a chance for some thick oil. Biggest thing that you would need for this run to be successful is I believe you need at least 4 thick oil so that we can make 4 firestones. Once you complete that little area there and you're on the beach, your main goal, just like all the other ones, is just fish, get seaweed. Seaweed is always your best friend in these early runs, just because adding that frost rag for some, or rather any elemental damage, will make your life a hell of a lot easier. Here, you always give them a bandage rather than a health potion, same result. And after buffing up, I start combat for the very first time, other than the hyenas. So normally when you fight the pistol shrimps, I always like to just circle them until they do their big AoE slam. That animation right there is it. It's very, very easy to tell. Once you get like 1 or 2 hits in, you should be able to kick unless they dodge like that. And after that, you should be able to have a lot easier time. But yeah, your main focus is just to kind of bait out that elemental slam so you can get a couple of hits in. Bait that one little swipe he does so you can get 1 more hit in. I do get hit there, but there you go. I end up killing our mantis. That mantis did drop blue sand, which was nice. And the other thing you always want to make sure you get is before you continue onwards, you need to get the blue sand that spawns here. It spawns here in the daytime, not just at night, and you can see it by kind of tilting your camera upward like you saw me do there. In this, I actually got the pistol shrimp to be aggroed to the pearl bird, which was funny. So I just let nature take its course, and after it took its course, I intervened as humans normally do, and I reaped all the benefits. One thing I always suggest new players to do is to kill every single pearl bird you see, just because there is that 1 in 49 chance that it drops the pearl bird mask. And they have many uses, speed being one, making a bow later in the game is being another. But you know what, you should always just kill them. They give you eggs, which you can cook, which are an easy health recovery meal. Gives you meat to make more beef jerky, and you know what, it's always good to have that chance of getting the pearl bird mask. We keep going on and killing our mantis shrimps here, dodging that AoE like I said, getting our 2 hits in. We do get hit by that AoE slam because I decided to get greedy with the pierce skill. But once I got his stagger halfway down, we just flail on him like you see, and we continue on our way. So it's right around this point, kind of when you are at this kind of cliff here. This is where this second part of the blue sand is. It is harder to see in the daytime, but I always just choose to go here in the day, just because that way I could see. You'll notice I kind of have trouble looking for it, and then there I find it. That is our second thing of blue sand. There will be one last one here at the very end of the beach. It is also good to grab the Amylite shards here, just because you can always sell them. Like, you sell everything in this game. I'm personally a loot goblin. I will grab everything I can, just because I can. I would also suggest changing your FOV, maybe a little bit like I did. That was maybe a little too much for me, but just so you know, you can see a little bit more around you. Right around here is where you find the last thing of blue sand. Buff up as always to kill the mantis shrimp. There is a chance that a Wendigo can actually spawn in this area. If you're feeling brave enough, you can definitely try fighting it. Fire would probably be the best idea. So whether you have a fire rag or anything other than frost, you can give it a shot. It is worth it for the occult remains that they drop, but you're very weak right now, and I would definitely advise against fighting any Wendigos. If it's nighttime and you're on the beach, you can tell if you see a Wendigo just because you'll see kind of like ice particles off in the distance. That means Wendigo. That means don't go there. As always with the hyenas, same thing. Block the first attack, hit them until they're staggered. And with them killed, we get our stuff back on, and we actually do get lucky and get that one predator bone that I had to sell in the beginning because of the obsidian shard. With that, you can make your first fang weapon. If you have one-handed, you only need one fang. If you need a two-handed weapon, you're going to get 2 fang shards. Like always, we kill pearl birds just because, you know, if they have the chance to drop it, may as well kill them. While traveling down this road, I actually got very lucky. Normally, when I go this way, I don't turn left, but I did see the wandering trader off in the distance. And I actually would recommend going this way just because there is a supply cache. And as you'll note, in this supply cache, I do get lucky with a power coil. So there's more than one reason to go this way. I do get lucky again, and I'm able to sell some more stuff, and I'm able to buy the Master Trader boots. So after our little detour with the Wandering Trader, we do kill another Pearl Bird. Main goal when you have no mana is to get mana, right? So as soon as you start the game, I like to just beeline it straight to Conflux Mountain. Has some good rewards, but you know, main thing you're getting is you want Fire Sigil and you want Spark, because Fire Sigil, Spark make Fireball. So this is why you kill Pearl Birds. We got the Pearl Bird mask, crazy. So now we have that extra speed boost for just movement speed, and it's gonna help us as well with our Master Trader boots that we got. And we're a hell of a lot faster. Not sure how much you can tell because I do have the video in the back being fast forwarded, but you know what? Really good for me. I was very happy with that. Later on, in a couple other episodes, you'll note I kind of find like 4 other Master Trader boots, so I kind of regretted my purchase, but you know, luck is a weird thing. When you're inside, there are 3 entrances to the Holy Conflux Mountain, but I always go this way because we get our free bodyguard. He is basically the Solaire of Outward, in my opinion. He is, you know, just a good buddy. He will help you out. And he actually makes it so that he aggroes first. You got to let him enter before you do. That way he actually aggroes them before. And then all you got to really do is take care of that mage and the other 2 green trogs while he kind of tanks the 2 mana mantises. And while he does that, you get free loot. Normally when I go down here, I always just loop around, bring him right back up, just so that I, yet again, don't have to deal with him. Normally I fight mana mantises, but just because we don't necessarily need to right now, and we can just get our boy here to aggro for us and deal the majority of the damage, You know, work smarter, not harder. So with them all killed, we loot everything. We're still trying to get those thick oils from the trogs if we can. You always want to loot the mana staff from the mage trog, just because you can decraft it into mana stones. They do sell for a pretty penny. Around here, you know, the holy Conflux mountain path makes you have to hit 3 switches, and you can just avoid all the enemies, because when you bring them back to the main area, they will more than likely aggro on to our buddy here. I can't remember why I can't remember his name. But yeah, he'll do the majority of the damage for us. If you get a stagger, you get it, which is nice. We do get a thick oil, which is great. If you think, or if you normally have bad RNG for drops, and you're scared that you don't actually get enough thick oil, back in Cierzo, the starting town, you can go to the mage lady, and she does sell thick oil, as well as the general merchant. Like I said, you only need 4, theoretically. It's always good to have more, but 4 is the magic number. So now with everybody dead, we're basically free to loot. Well, Grenader's going to get killed here too, and then once he's dead, we're free to loot. And we do get another thick oil, which was great. I got really lucky with life potions early on. Normally life potions are a little harder to get, just because you need the beetle, gravel beetle, and the blood mushrooms. And we get another thick oil, which is great. You'll also see I get really lucky here. I get 1 Hackamite. And then I get 2 Nope, never mind, just the 1 Hackamite. But yeah, so with the whole bottom area looted and the top area looted, we are now free to get all the way into the actual Conflux chambers. Oh, right, I do actually end up going back here to pick up this blood mushroom. Just because, you know, like I said, they make life potions. Really, really good for that. Now that we're here, we go to the Conflux mountain path. So now that we're actually in the main area, there is this body that occasionally actually drops the alchemist scent, which is really good because then you don't need to buy it. But of course, because I am over encumbered, I do what everybody does, which is pick up the loot anyways and roll my way to the merchant. Dreamer roots are always great to pick up here as well, just because in the off chance you get the ice elemental shard from the ice elemental later on, you can craft it, right? But yeah, just like always, rolling all the way over to the merchant so we can sell our loot that we picked up. This early in the game, I do actually recommend selling Hackamite and whatnot, just because you're not really going to use it until you get to Levant, and you're not going to get to Levant for quite a while. Always make sure you grab Fire Sigil. It is so good, and the only other way to get it is when you go to Monsoon. So always get Fire Sigil. Make sure you equip it on your hotbar as well as Spark. You also want to equip your Flint and Steel somewhere on your hotbar, because that does combine with the Fire Sigil. Here, I actually put our alchemy set down, and this is where I start crafting our firestones. I get our 4 that we needed to get required. The reason you need 4 is because you need 1 to kill the mini-boss here, which came upstairs, which kind of spooked me. But this is our first one. Normally, you prop it down, you light it up, and this is where combat starts. So with our dino buddies, they actually have a pretty easy attack pattern. They have that claw attack, which is its combo finisher. It'll do bite, and then claw. It also has a kind of AoE fire burst, but as you can see, it's already dead. That's just how good Fire Sigil is early game. But yeah, normally those guys, they can be a little tough to deal with early on, just because, you know, I'm not wearing any good armor, and, you know, I think like 2 or 3 hits and I'm dead. There's 1 palladium shard, palladium scrap that you saw that you always pick up here. That makes our, it's one of our ingredients for our horror weapon. I believe if you take the blue chamber conflux path, there is another palladium mine that you can mine into. But I always just drop it. That way I can have a better chance at some RNG loot. I sell the rest of my stuff here, and now that we've killed our area boss, we got our mana, we got our fire sigil and whatnot, we are free to go to the next spot, and that is Vendeval Fortress. Like always, speedrunning across the beach, we grab all the seaweed we can. It's useful in so many ways. Early game, you use it mainly for the ice rags, but you can also use them to make the purple teas that increase your mana if you sleep for too long. They probably have some other combinations that I also can't think of. I'm pretty sure you use it for the Cierzo quiche. But yeah, now that you're in Vendeval, biggest thing that you can do right now is you can actually pre-set up, because there you won't aggro until you talk to Croc. Make sure you're careful with your dialogue choices. You do not want to select option 2, because that will force you to teleport and be kidnapped.
Think you're sick. You need to see. I insist.
So basically, by leading them into the corners, they take so much dot damage. And there will be these 2 other guys. Since it doesn't last as long, you just need a fireball. And that one fireball will ignite even more dots on them. As you saw, it's pretty easy here. While you're looting, biggest thing to pick up is the Brutal Club and everything that Croc has. You only need 1 set of each key. You don't need multiple. So you can drop those. Normally when you run across here, you always click that corner one so that we can get our first ornate chest, which had some gear, just stuff to sell. We use, any foods that we need right now. I always suggest going up first, because there is another fight that actually they don't aggro right away. And you are able to do a really, really funny thing, which is to fire sigil, flint steel, drop your backpack. And then when you talk to her, you could just spam your spark, and it will one-shot her because of the dots over time. These guys as well, kind of just lead them into the fire if you can. You don't necessarily need to conserve your mana, just because you will get some mana potions from the boss here. But you know what? It's always good to save your mana. One thing to note is if you are doing the speed run, quote unquote, this way, you do lock yourself out of I think it's the Alchemist backpack or something. It's a good backpack, but I mean, I don't really normally use it. Through doors, you can cheese. I normally just cheese the beginning area just because, why not? You can fight them normally, or you can actually lock them on the other side of the gate, which I'll do later. After attempting to fight this man and losing half my health, I just decide, all right, I'm just going to lock him on the other side of the gate. He doesn't drop anything. Best thing he can drop is like beef jerky. So that way, just lock him. Don't have to deal with him. Eat some more beef jerky for some health regen. We get another alchemy set, so we can actually make our first couple life potions. At this point, if you actually have run out of firestones, you should go to where the mine area is first, because there is a whole bunch of iron ore veins which you can mine, which each have, I believe it's a 33% chance to drop thick oil. But if you have another fire sigil stone, you just run up like I did here, you aggro him, make sure he's following you all the way, close the door, drop your fire sigil, good old flint and steel. And you could honestly just wait there if you only took like 1 or 2 mana. Or you can just spam fireball until he dies. And now with him dead, we're able to pick up the shield. You can always, I'd just suggest equipping the shield just because it'll make your carry weight less. That's why we're using the brutal mace. Not because we're going to be using it, but just because we can carry more loot. There's going to be a couple more of these like assassin guys in here. You can honestly just ignore them if you want. You can also kill them, doesn't really matter. As you can see, my health got pretty low just because I chose to fight them. Like, they don't drop anything good, so you can honestly just loot the one chest inside there and then go and lock the gate and they won't follow you, right? So at this point, I got the half-plate boots, and so I equipped them over the Master Traders just because we're just trying to prioritize silver in the beginning of the game here. With that all done, we run all the way here, aggro the guards from that gate, and we just lock them on the inside. This now gives us access to a pickaxe and, of course, the iron ore veins I was talking about earlier. I think it is a 33% chance. Somebody can fact check me on that. But I at least normally get 1 or 2 here. If I'm lucky, I have actually gotten 5. You just drop the iron scraps. You don't need them. You can't sell them to the prisoners anyways. You can lure these guys back in here. And now, with that all done, we don't have any reason to be in Vendeval anymore. We craft a couple more firestones, another life potion, and we are clear to head back to Cierzo. So once you exit Vendeval, you just turn left and you start heading towards Conflux Mountain again. It is a lot harder to do this at night. Yet again, there is a chance that a Wendigo can spawn outside. I would not suggest fighting it unless all of the enemies outside are aggroed to it already and it's like half health. You have fire sigil now, so you can actually put up a decent fight. But, you know, you're probably going to be encumbered like I am, and you might actually have, depending on your RNG and luck and whatnot, if you got hit, you might actually be low health. So I honestly just recommend booking it all the way back to Cierzo. One thing, biggest thing I'm wishing for Outward 2 is a mount. I understand that mounts would be a little weird, maybe, but, you know, faster movement speed on the map would make it a hell of a lot easier, just because, you know, lots and lots of trudging and walking. But that's also the experience of Outward, right? Is if you were able to kind of bypass everything, well, then you wouldn't have some unique encounters. You know, fast travel system is really only from area to area or with the traders. But yeah, I think that's one of my biggest things, wish lists for Outward 2, is some way to move faster, whether it's a mount or maybe a better fast traveling system, but I digress. So with the lighthouse in the distance, we slowly trudge our way all the way back. And now we finally reached Cierzo. So now that we're in Cierzo, because we killed everybody in Vendeval, we get the town key. That's probably one of the most important things, just because it gets you access to your legacy chest if you put something in there. This is a brand new save file because this is a new laptop. I didn't have actually any previous characters, so I thought, you know what, let's just make a brand new one. With that said, we, you know, sell everything that we don't need. We don't need our club. We don't need that shield. You get as much money as you can. Now that I have silver again, I buy the last skill from the skill trainer there. And we go and we talk to Risa. Because, guess what? We still have to pay off our debts. If you haven't bought a whole bunch of gold yet, make sure you're selecting the tribal favor and not the silver, just because, you know, you worked all that, did all that work for it, and if you gave her silver, that'd be unfortunate. With that done, you've talked to her, you've looted the ornate chest in the town hall there. I now would suggest talking to Oliel and Yazan. Yazan's probably still pissed at you because we mugged him. But now with that, we go all the way back to the town hall and we talk to Risa once again. Look at the graphics, man. It's great. Now with her gone, we can actually progress and start the quest. She also gives us some starting travel rations, which is really nice. We're going to head back home, store all the stuff that we don't really think we'll be needing. And we're going to go to bed because we want that stamina buff. Now with all that, we're going to run all the way back to the front, and we're going to leave Cierzo probably for quite a bit.
Greetings, friend.
So we do our final round around Cierzo, grab a couple more water skins, grab everything you're gonna really think you're gonna need. I'd always suggest having 3 or 6 sets of wood, just so you always have a campfire available. At this point, I decided to leave through the front entrance because I was going to try my luck with a couple more supply caches. There's quite a few supply caches on your way. I got really lucky again, and I did get a second power coil. So now, instead of going to the Ghost Pass immediately, I'm going to first pass through the Montcalm Fortress. This is going to get us the biggest and the best backpack in the game. I don't believe I use it for the entirety of the game, but, Blue Goblins love that backpack, myself included. So, now that we're in Vendeval, we're just going to kill everything in the starting area here. Going to buff up a bit as well. If you haven't already, I would always suggest picking up those travel rations, just because we're not going to be heading back to Cierzo once we go through the Ghost Pass. We are going to be immediately leaving. So if you don't have enough travel rations, always suggest picking some up. You gotta love Stagger because he can just wail. Oh man. Alright, so with the hyena dead and our front guy garden dead, this is our last man we need to kill before we get our awesome backpack. Two power coils down and the best backpack in the game, everyone. RNG is one hell of a thing. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. This was actually probably one of my first runs here in a bit where I've actually gotten the backpack this early. Normally if I get lucky, I get them in the later security chests that you can find, but I got incredibly lucky, especially with that one traveling merchant leading me to that first power coil. With ice mages, they always have, I treat them similarly to the pistol shrimps, because they actually have a big AoE that they do, and it hits you with slow. That's the AoE right there. If you can get their stagger down, you can kill them. I love swords in this game, one-handed swords. They probably have my favorite moveset, just because you can do your normal attack into special attack, and it dodges quite a lot of hits. With the big bad guy up here, I just decided instead of risking it with melee, I'm just going to destroy his ass with Fire Sigil. It's so broken. Early game here in Cierzo. Honestly, it can carry you throughout the entirety of the game, especially if you decide to become a sigil mage. Not that we're going to be doing that, but man, sigils are so fun. I can't wait to see how they change or what they do to them in Outward 2. Let me know what you guys are planning to do for your builds for Outward 2. I'm planning on doing a mage straight out. I don't know what kind of mage. It might just be... It won't be a jack of all trades, but... I'll have to see what's the earliest that you can get. I'll be making videos on it. I'm planning on taking 2 weeks off from work and just basically playing nothing but Outward 2 when it comes out. So 2026 will be a very fun day. Now that we have our backpack from the Montcalm Fortress and we looted everything that we really needed, we are going to go, southeast-ish, and we're going to talk to the Immaculate first, and we're going to get a couple of options that you can get from there. Now that I have the Pearl Bird mask, I actually didn't think about killing the Pearl Bird, but then I realized my rule, may as well kill it, right? It only takes a few hits and one skill. I gotta give it to Nine Dot Studios. This is probably one of the best starting areas in any fantasy game I've played, just because it changes dramatically the more you explore, right? Like getting to the Conflux Mountain and the grass turns from green to purple, you know something. You're in a different zone. When you talk to the Immaculate, I honestly just always go for the power option just to get possessed as quickly as you can. It can get pretty annoying because you'll have to ask for power eventually. This is another security cache that has a chance for a pyrocoil. Now that we didn't get anything there, we're going to just head east and we're going to make our way to the Ghost Pass. There's a few items here that you can loot. There's a chest. There's also some of these ghost eyes. They sell pretty well, so you may as well loot them all. I think I only got the one. I think there's one more in the building to the right. On here, we have another security cache. It's another chance to get the power coil. In here, honestly, we just speedrun Ghost Pass. There's nothing in here that we really need except for the palladium scrap there that we'll get later. Hit the switch once, loot the bag, grab another thing in there, and we're gonna have the last chest to loot. Now we just loop all the way back around, and we're able to now, instead of going immediately up the elevator, we go left this way, and this goes down into this corruption area. Honestly, just follow the route that I do. We're only down here just so we can get the palladium scrap, as well as, I guess, a chance at another Hackmite. But there we go. Another palladium scrap added. This just drops down to where we first were. So now we can actually just go up the elevator. So there's one last thing we're going to want to do here. There's the golem here. They have a chance to drop some of the endgame crafting items, like the, what do you call it? Vendeval's flag or whatnot. I almost died there. It's just because I decided to get a little greedy and try to kill them first, and I got hit by the golem. Luckily, I was able to close the gate in time. Unluckily, oh, I guess, never mind, I forgot. There you go. Now that the fire sigil went down, I had to rely only on my main weapon that wasn't buffed. But because our little boy here was on fire already, I was able to get him killed without really worrying. So we plop down another fire sigil, and we just kill our golem friend here. So we get another Roarinate chest. We pick up everything we can because our next destination is going to be the Cabal Hermit. And there's So main thing to watch out for while we are in this zone, just outside of the Ghost Pass, is there's a couple things to loot. But the biggest thing is you want to keep an eye out for the shell horror. It'll be very, very easy to spot. Sometimes they can spawn around here, as you can see in the background. You just barely saw them. Sometimes they can spawn across the bridge. They spawn in this entire overworld area. If you see them, the perfect time to kill them is now, right? You want to start with your fire sigil, pop it down, get their aggro. And what I like to do is I always like to get them sprinting like that, because then it starts their sprint attack. And all you got to do when they have their sprint attack is roll behind them. So, you just roll to the side, they do their little sprint attack, enough time for us to now get a free attack in. He really didn't want to charge at me. Sometimes they charge a lot easier. And there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, wait. Bada bing, bada boom. Alright. So, with the shell horror killed, we now have access almost to our starting weapon. As many of you know, The horror weapons are probably one of the best early game items you can get, just because they sell very well, but you know they're also decent for damage. I mean, they deal, they can inflict extreme poison for extra dots. They have enough decay damage and normal physical damage to actually just be a pretty useful weapon right about until endgame. But now that we killed the shell horror, we don't really need to kill anything else in this area, so we just rush, we activate the wind thing, and then we beeline it straight to the Cabal Hermit. When you're inside here, I always just loot and then snag that nicer looking lantern. We sell absolutely everything that we do not need, including the lantern we just picked up. Or sorry, our old lantern. And we pick up a couple of skills while we're here, and we turn the rest into the gold ingots. At this point, you can spec into the Cabal Hermit if you want. The Cabal Hermit is an amazing skill tree for almost any build. This one, it would also be a pretty decent build as well. I just decided not to go fully yet because I wasn't entirely sure what the final breakthrough point of my build was going to be. I knew that I was going to do the Philosopher because I wanted access to all of the Chakram skills, and I knew another one was going to be the Hex Mage because we needed access to Rupture and Torment. Once you're in this little area, you actually are able to pick up some Giverary Wine, which is really nice because it gets us quick access to our first free Starstone. Loot what you want in this area here. I'd just suggest picking up all the Giverary Wine, may as well, right? Nice thing is you can actually just leave straight through those barrels there. If you did not get lucky with the Master Trader's backpack, you can always run back to the Hermit and sell the stuff you just picked up there. Luckily, again, I got the Traveling Merchant. And so I was able to sell a whole bunch of my things I just picked up. And now we're able to make our way inside of the corrupted area here. So right here where this Pearl Bird is another security chest that we can actually grab. And this is basically the last spot to find a power coil, which I did again. Which is really nice because if you are able to get the 2 power coils at this point, once we finish the zone here, it actually loops right around to Montcalm. But we just beeline it west so that we can get our free Starstone. There's many options. I just spam the number 1 just because it'll give you the Starstone without having to fight the ghost. Going up this area is just another chest to loot. And finally, we're able to enter inside before we get corrupted. So this Wendigo is the last boss of Chersonese that is going to be difficult. We're going to leave our lantern on so that they kind of get mini aggroed and they start kind of heading towards the light. Buff up with whatever you feel comfortable with. But just make sure that you try your best to try to separate the elemental from the Wendigo. You don't want the Wendigo fully aggroed until you have your fire sigil down. Once it's down, drop your backpack, get him aggroed, and spam fireball. So I got a little unlucky here. I accidentally dodged in a way that made him get knocked back off the cliff. But because he's on fire, he does heal over time, but the dots on him kind of make it evened out. I reapply our flint and steel to the fire sigil. It doesn't cost any mana. And I just sit and wait. He's still aggroed, and he'll make his way all the way back up. And bada bing, bada boom. Wendigo's dead. We were able to get... Unfortunately, we got the Flowering Corruption from him, which is kind of useless in my opinion. It doesn't craft any of like the really cool weapons that you can get from some of those endgame boss rewards. We just wail, and we get really lucky again, and we get a elemental shard there, which is really good because it is one of the elemental particles that we need in order to enchant some of our gear. But we'll get to that later on. So now that you're in this corrupted zone here, there's two things you can do. You can go through the normal quest, but I just smash his skull to skip it. I hate getting corrupted early on. I went around this way just because I couldn't remember if these guys gave you occult remains or not. Then I decided it wasn't worth it. I'm just going to leave because I'm going to get corrupted. When you crush his skull, it opens up the door for you, and it basically just helps with the speed run to get to leave Chersonese. I don't believe it really affects any storylines. It might alter a little bit with the heroic mission, the holy mission, but yeah, not sure. So at this point, you can go the route that I'm going if you have everything you need and you don't feel like you need to go back to Cierzo. If you had the power coil, you can go to the right instead of the left. That can enter through Montcalm. You can get the chest like you did, and you can go back to Cierzo if you really need to. But because we have everything we need, we are just beelining it straight to Berg. There's no reason for us to be in Cierzo anymore. We completed our quests. We have all of our items we need. We have our gear to make our first horror weapon, which we'll make here in just a bit. And with that, we're going to beeline it straight to Berg. You could also go through Monsoon. However, I always like to go to Berg first, just because you're able to unlock that bridge first and quicker. That way you have easy entrance from Monsoon back to Berg. Berg will also be really nice because that's where everyone makes their money from. Everybody knows the Cabal Wind Temple Farm, and that's what we'll be doing in the next episode. So, while we make our way to Berg, I also decide that, why not? We already mugged Yazan, we may as well loot his little security chest, or secret chest he has down here. And the answer is literally just the moon and then the stars, I think. Gets us a free Rondel Dagger, a couple of silver, and a Gaberry wine. Just stuff to sell. With everything said and done, we are now done here in Chersonese, and so we run all the way to Berg. And with that, that is the end of the first episode. If y'all liked it, please like and subscribe, and let me know if you want a part 2. Cheers, y'all.